Hey guys. Okay, so today I want to talk about my first clinical day. So I had clinical on Monday. I was there from 7 a.m. to 1. And then since they had a scheduling issue and the hospitals had to start clinicals earlier, we actually had to go straight to clinical lab because we're required to have 5 weeks of clinical lab before we go to clinicals. But since we were missing 2 weeks, for last Monday and this Monday coming up, we have to pretty much do a double, and we do clinicals and then clinical lab after. So it was a long day, but anyway, I it was also exciting. So I got to clinical at 7 a.m. at the hospital and met my instructor in the lobby. We did a little tour. My instructor, he actually goes to my school, but he is in the family NP program, so he's getting his doctorate. He's getting his nurse practitioner, which is now a doctorate in New York State. So he's getting his doctorate degree. It's really cool because he's a student as well. Even though, he's been an ICU nurse for 10 years now, he's also a student. So he kind of sees both sides of it, and he understands exactly what we're going through with our classes and our workload. And so it's nice. It's nice to have him. He's not old. He's younger. He's probably, I don't want to guess his age, but he's probably in his early 30s. So it was really cool to meet him. He showed us around the hospital. We did a tour. I can't talk much about it because of HIPAA, but I can just tell you that my hospital is one of those hospitals that was a community hospital and then was bought out by a big hospital system. So it still has that community hospital vibe where it's really small. The emergency room, for instance, had like 15 people in it, which is in New York City is like crazy slow, because when you go to a hospital like Columbia Presbyterian or one of those emergency rooms, you're there for 13-14 hours and it's just like crazy nonstop. This was so relaxed in their emergency room. And then we went to ICU and there were like 5 ICU patients. There was like a nurse for each patient, which is kind of great, because like kind of a reputation of community hospitals is the nurse to patient ratio being a bit stretched. Nurses have a lot more patients in those community hospitals versus the big institutions. So this was cool. And it's good that there's not that many people in ICU. That means there's not that many incredibly sick people in that area. So that's good. But anyway, we did a tour of the hospital. It was small, but I liked it. It was a nice little, introduction for us. And not too overwhelming. I'm actually on an oncology floor, which I'm really excited about because my mom is an oncology nurse, and she's been an oncology nurse now for years and years, and she loves being an oncology nurse. And so it was really cool. When I found out that my first clinical in nursing school was on an oncology floor, I texted her right away before I had to put away my phone, and she was so excited. So we got on the floor and we met the nurses. We just said hi to them as we walked by. There's actually like a room for the families because they also do their outpatient chemo treatments on that on that floor. So they have like a family waiting room, and that's what we used as our little conference room. The funniest thing is one thing that you guys are going to encounter is some of the nurses' attitudes. So a lot of them were really nice, but one of them was not having it. She did not want us there. She was really miserable. And when we walked by, she rolled her eyes like, ugh, and breathed out like that when we said hi to her. It was really intimidating. I don't understand why people find that it's necessary to act that way. But I'm just praying that I don't get paired with her. I'm praying that none of us get paired with her. There's 7 people in my group. 8 people in my group. So there's, 4 groups because we're partnered up. And essentially we get paired with a nurse. And then when we're with that nurse, we pick which patient we want to do our care plan on. And that's our patient for the care plan. And I'm just praying that no one gets her. Hopefully the clinical instructor and the clinical coordinator and then the nurse manager, when they get together and decide which nurses get paired with students, they have enough sense to know not to put us with her. My clinical instructor noticed her attitude towards us as well, and he was really unhappy about it. So I'm hoping no one just has to deal with her. Granted, she might have had a terrible day, and I get that. We're walking in, and we're like on level 100. We're walking onto an oncology floor, like, like so excited and bubbly, and we're just so happy to be there. 7 a.m., bright-eyed, And she might have had a patient that just died. Her patient might have just passed away 10 minutes before that, or she might have just be having a really hard day with her patient, or having personal issues, and she just doesn't want to see us that happy. Anyway, whatever. Like, it is what it is. You might encounter the same thing. It's very uncomfortable because you don't want to get in their way. We have so much respect for them because they've gone through what we're going through, and they made it through, and they're doing what we want to be one day. So we have so much respect for them, but at the same time, it's just like, we don't want to get in their way, but we want to learn from them. So it was a bit frustrating, that little part of it. But anyway, so once we got in, we did a little scavenger hunt and went around the unit, and he kind of wanted us to count all the beds, how the capacity of the unit, where are the linens, where is your fire hydrants and your fire exits. Like, we had to find all these things just so we know where all that stuff is. And once we did that, we went into a isolation room that wasn't being used, and we practiced all of our skills. Practiced mobility, we practiced making a bed, we practiced all of our vital signs on each other. We ran through scenarios, we did role playing. We did that for about 2.5 to 3 hours. And that was really good because you're in the hospital setting, it's just different. Even though we're still doing, working on each other, like how we do in lab, we're in the hospital, we're in our scrubs, like we feel like we're really there. We have our clinical instructor who we can reference. He's right in front of us. So it was nice. And next week is when we get paired with our nurse and we find out who our patient's going to be and everything. So I can't tell you guys a lot of details about, obviously about the patient, about the hospital and all that. But I can just give you guys some vague snippets of what's going on. I am really excited. I was really, really happy to be there. And I just really felt like, okay, now I see the light at the end of the tunnel. Once you're doing these prereqs and stuff, and like you just get so stressed out, like 2 years of prereqs, and then you get to nursing 1 and you're like, wow, I'm finally doing it. But then you get to clinicals and you're like, wow, this is real. Like 3 more semesters, and this is 3 more semesters after this, and this is it. Like, now I'm really going to be doing it. So it's a bit nerve-wracking because you're excited and nervous and anxious at the same time, but it's also really exciting. So I'm really happy. My first clinical day went awesome. And I don't know if you guys have any questions. Ask me any questions you have, and I'll update you more as the clinical weeks come. I should have an update about my nurse and my patient and all that next week. So hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. I'm going to do another video about how I study. That study method that I mentioned a video ago, I think, it's working really well for me, and I really want to share it with you guys. So I'm going to film right now another video on that so my videos aren't too long. Have a wonderful week, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.